Hi guys, and welcome back, and today we're looking at how to value your customers because your customers are the fuel to your business.
Your value increases when you add value to others.
Thinking back in time when I started EduSpace and when I started working in the service space of building a product to help the needs or help the need for the education system, I've always been inclined to understanding what makes a customer tick and what makes them work or makes them want to use our product or want to use our services. So overall, when we look at things, we've got to understand that customer retention, customer engagement, and customer satisfaction are really important and essential for the business to run and operate on the long run. So focusing in on things where customers are actually using your product and focusing in on those important and vital parts and making sure that you're bridging those gaps is really essential for you to understand as a business owner. So when you think back and when you put down things on paper, you've got to understand, are you speaking to the customers? Are you trying to understand their pain points? Are you able to hear out what problems they're facing? And even when they don't seem like there is a problem, you still ask them, how can we improve or how can we take steps to make things simpler for you? So I've always been in tune in making sure that I've spoken to every customer that comes on. I've at least spoken to them once or twice just to understand where their wavelength's at, where their mindset is at, or are they enjoying this whole process of learning with us, or are they enjoying this process of using our application or using our software? So we need to understand and value the customers in such a way that we make sure that we're understanding their problems, not just their problems, but also understand what makes it simpler for them to use your particular service or use your particular product. So I've often found that speaking to them is probably one of the easiest things to do, and because you just need to pick up a phone, ask them the questions, get down a few points. But what comes out after speaking to them, after you've listened to them, you need to understand that you need to act upon and create a process in place to actually close that feedback loop. So to create that process of closing that feedback loop, you need to understand that how do we solve, but also understand what are the priorities that your business needs. So if you're solving a particular need for a particular customer or a few or several customers, then how is that going to give you or boost your revenue or boost your customer retention or boost your customer engagement inside of your service and your platform? So we need to analyze what are the implications of doing this, or what are the implications of working on this particular service or improving this particular feature, and what is it going to bring me in the long run. But way before we get into the revenue and the numbers it's going to bring, you need to understand how is this going to ultimately affect or ultimately improve the engagement or the experience as a whole, because you're creating an ecosystem. So how is it going to increase that experience as a whole for a customer? So try to think of you using that application without a bias. Try to get people to actually test it who have never seen the application before, and try to understand what are the feedback that you're getting. So from those feedback, start working on how you can develop strategies to combat what issues they're facing or what problems they might be facing. The other thing that you can do is also try to, so for example, what I've done is if I'm connecting a particular tutor and a student together and they've already started taking classes, what I would do is randomly on particular days would try to understand how are the classes being conducted. So we can have a session where you can actually go in, you can view the session, or you can actually be in a session live and try to understand how the flow of the session works. So in a similar way, in your business, you can obviously look at ways in which you can try to see how the business is running, and in the forefront of things where you're providing those services, how are you actually catering to the needs of your customer? So your direct customer might be the student. in my example, it is the students that are my direct customers, but then who's paying for that is their parents. So we're having a whole different group of people that we're needing to satisfy. So to create that ecosystem, we need to understand what it takes to actually build this ecosystem and how to build it in such a way that we are pleasing each and every individual. Obviously, in these cases, you will never have 100% satisfaction rate, and obviously you will have people who will fall out and say, no, this is not something for me, whether it be because of the pricing, whether it be because of the platform, whether it be because of their experience, and just your timing, it might not be right. But you need to understand that even those people who have left can provide you valuable insights into how you can probably cater to their needs, or people of their, like, people who might have similar choices, how you can cater to them. So have a way to close that feedback loop of people who are also leaving your ecosystem or leaving your service. More often than not, I feel like you need to understand not just from a perspective of the customers, but you need to understand, are you taking the necessary steps to actually improve, or are you taking steps to improve on the daily, or are you taking steps to have minor tweaks and changes here and there, not to completely overhaul the system, but to also understand how can you make certain tweaks to ensure there is a better customer engagement, because the amount of time they spend on your service is probably reflective of how good your service is, or how good your application is, or how good your education is. No, so if it's courses, or if it's for example, if it's a game, you obviously check by seeing how much they're playing the game and how long they're playing it. So in the same way, in similar ways, you gotta have KPIs or metrics to kind of understand, how do we crack, or how do we increase the customer retention? How do we make sure that they're coming back? How many students are, for example, if they've left, how many students are leaving on a good note and then coming back when they actually do have a need? All these things play a big role in really nailing it for the long run. So thank you for listening to me, guys. And if you do have any questions, or if you have anything that you want to ask me, please do hit me up, and I'm more than happy to help you guys. Cheers.